Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this special webinar of Forces Network on organic farming. Right. So, a very hearty welcome to all participants. We have a lot of new participants today who are joining a Forces Network event for the first time. So, as I say, Forces Network is your learning partner. Let me admit a few more members joining in. So, this is the winter learning season in Forces Network 2021. So, we've had a lot of learning seasons in the past year and a half or so. I will briefly take you through those before we come on to the proper presentation of the day. So as you see, Forces Network has started the learning webinar series last year amidst the lockdown. And 2020, we had two seasons. One was the lockdown learning season, which started on 28th of March and finished on 5th of July. And thereafter, there was another season of learning we had during the monsoon period. And that was started on 30th August and continued till 11th October. And now in 2021, we've started with the winter learning season, and here we are with the winter learning season series. What did we do in the past, year learning? So this is the list of webinars that we conducted. So a wide range of topics, right from why it is difficult to successfully transition from military to corporate, to the commercial drone industry, to the UN jobs hiring process, the CISM certification, how to self-publish your book, expatriate life in Dubai, career in cybersecurity, and all these recordings are available. You can, register for them and get access to it. In the 2021 learning series, these are the webinars that we have planned. So 17 January, we began with the neuro-linguistic programming webinar by Meena Arora, who is a clinical psychologist, and she's also an NLP trainer. Extremely successful webinar. A large number of participants were there, and she's also running an NLP course. Several people joined that. Then on 23rd January, there was a webinar conducted on cybersecurity, which was on the solar winds hacking, which was conducted by me. So this was also very well received. This is a complex topic. Not many people understand it. Tried to explain it in simple terms, had very positive feedback. And in the future, we are coming up with a webinar, which is in the Offbeat Career series, a career in astrology, Captain Satyam, who is an astrologer himself. So astrology can be a very fulfilling and financially rewarding profession. And of course, today we have the big one, the organic farming webinar, and is going to be hosted by Major VP Sharma. So these were the list of webinars that we have done this year. We also did one for the WARDS, which was USA Higher Education. We had Meenakshi Sharma coming in as a speaker. She is the country head for Claremont University, California, US. She's also an Army wife. Okay, lots of people still coming in. Let me just admit them. This was the solar winds hacking webinar. So this is Mitt Romney. He's a senator, and he says this hack was like a Russian bomber flying over the entire country undetected. This was the study in the USA webinar. And this is the webinar for today. What you see on the right is the logo of Gratitude Farms, and Gratitude Farms has been founded by Major VP Sharma. We'll get to know more about him very soon. So he has brought technology into farming and also adopted the concept of regenerative farming. Right. So upcoming webinars, this is the one, Astrology as a Career. This is on 13th February. As you know, Captain Satyam is a very famous astrologer in Forces Network. People have been trying to get an appointment from him for the past 2 months, but not able to get it. And he's really good at, that's the feedback we have. So if you want to know, this is about how to become an astrologer, right? It's not about teaching astrology. So this is under the series of Offbeat Careers. We'll do more such webinars coming in the future. All right, we come to the topic proper for the day. So it's about Gratitude Farms, and Gratitude Farm believes in regenerative agriculture. So you see the picture in front of you. There's a parched ground on the left, and there's lush green farmland on the right. So that's the concept of regenerative farming, right? And that's what Gratitude Farm believes in. So these, let me just transport you to Gratitude Farms, and Gratitude Farms is located in Pondicherry, in the southern part of the country. And these are real actual pictures from Gratitude Farms. So, I mean, I could almost feel the wind blowing in my face and the greenery all around. It's really refreshing and relieving, I would say, for the city dwellers. Another picture, some more pictures from the Gratitude Farms. So I think some people have already gone and attended some trainings there, so they may be aware of this. All right, coming to the speaker introduction. So we are lucky today to have amongst us Major VP Sharma, who is eminently qualified to speak on the subject. Major VP Sharma is a signals officer. He's an ex-NDA 66 NDA course, and he got commissioned into the Corps of Signals in June 1985. An extremely brilliant officer, extremely outstanding academic record, right from NDA, torches, and brilliant career in the Corps of Signals. He's had very distinguished service tenures. He was in the para signals, as you can see, with his maroon beret, and he's served in a lot of operational areas like the Kashmir Valley. He's also been in the armored div signal regiment. Then he served in the northeastern sector as well, and he had a very successful tenure in the PMO CIDSS in Delhi, and also a staff tenure in Dakshin Bharat area. Right now, he comes from a very strong technology background. So some of you may be wondering, what's he doing in farming? So that's his second innings, and what's really interesting and I think inspiring is being a regular officer. He quit the army in 16 years of service. So he didn't wait for 20 years, an assured pension. He forgot that and took the dip into the corporate sector. He had an extremely illustrious career in the corporate sector, as you can see, with the kinds of brands on his CV. Airtel, he joined in Airtel as a DGM operation, went to Ericsson, set up the NOC there, then went to Malaysia, and then he was part of Nokia Siemens Networks, and then he was with Cisco Systems for nearly 6 years, where he was heading, the technical TAC in India, and then also he was the director for managed services for Reliance Jio operations. Now he's in his third innings. So after nearly around 30 years of service, both in the army and the corporate, he decided to become a social entrepreneur. So he set up Gram Unnati Trust, of which he is also the co-founder as well as the CEO. So these are the links. You can probably go and take a look. I will put them in the chat later. And he also founded Gratitude Farms, which I explained is into regenerative and organic farming. And he's been at it for, I think, more than 3 years now. And now they're in a position where they are scaling up, and there's a lot of investor interest also coming in from the VCs. Right. So Major VP Sharma is not new in Forces Network. Let me take you down the memory lane. So some of you may remember this. This was a seminar we conducted at New Delhi, the Welcome Hotel at Dwarka, 9 December 2018. And he was a guest speaker at this seminar. So this is a picture from that particular seminar. And you can see him speak here, and he's also receiving a memento. As you know, in our Forces Network seminars, we have the mentoring sessions. And he's sitting at this table for the mentoring session at the end of the seminar. And this was the most widely attended mentoring session. We had to put 3 tables to accommodate people, and still people are standing. So that tells you about his mentoring skills, right? Let me now tell you about the sequence of presentation as we're going to have today. So the speaker introduction I've just finished. I'll now hand you over to Major VP Sharma, who will take you through his journey and also share his presentation about organic farming. Then we have a quiz, which is going to be on menti.com. So this is the website, and this is the code you'll have to enter. Don't worry, you have time. This will be only after the presentation is done. And then we take the Q&A. So all of you have been muted. Feel free to type in your questions into the chat window. They will be picked up, and we will take them up at the end of the presentation. With this, now I hand you over to Major VP, and I make you host, sir.
Thank you. All right. Firstly, thank you so much, Iqbal, for inviting me to the webinar, and my sincere gratitude to all of you to spend a Sunday evening knowing more about organic farming, and I'll try to do justice to this topic. So as Iqbal mentioned, I'm now into my third innings. We have started Gratitude Farms, and what I will try to do, the theme is opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities in organic farming. And I'm no academic, I'm not a researcher in this field. I'm just a simple, plain, pure practitioner. I'm not from a farming background. I've never undertaken entrepreneurship before, but here I am leading a company with a dream to scale it up at pan-India level. which I will cover. So much of what I'm going to tell you is going to be purely my experience, practical experience, of course, backed by data where it is applicable. And it is through my story and my own experience that I will try to explain why organic farming and how organic farming can be an excellent opportunity for those who are willing to step into this particular field. So let me start with this. Before I delve deep into this, let me tell you a few points. And this should relate directly to many of the questions that people have asked and you must be having in your mind to ask. First and foremost thing about organic farming, the business and entrepreneurship opportunities. And I will use the business and entrepreneurship in an interchangeable way, right? Because a social business, social entrepreneurship, for me, they are one and the same, right? No micro segmentation. First and foremost, it is best done as a social business. What does it mean? It means that, and I'll repeat this again in the next few slides, it is best done as a combination of what is called 3P, people, planet, and profit. Increasingly, the world of business is realizing that chasing profits, the corporate style, is not the right way. The times of Corona, the changing, you can say the fabric of the global business is telling, and the climate change and all the attendant problems is telling that the best businesses, the sustainable businesses, whether as a startup or as a global conglomerate, are those which take care of people, which is livelihood, planet, which is environment, and profit. Then you are seeking a balance. So organic farming, by its very definition, fits into that kind of thing. So step into it with a clear view that it is a social business. And now, having identified as a social entrepreneurship or business, as in life, so in social entrepreneurship, focus on creative ideas to solve the problems. Money will follow. One of the most common questions I keep getting from people whenever I meet them, whenever I try to interact with them is, sir, how much money do you think I will need in 1 acre of organic farming? How much money do you think I need to invest to become successful organic farming entrepreneur? Actually, that's a very wrong question to ask. What you should be focusing on is, okay, what do I want to do within organic farming? And I'll tell you a lot of things, the opportunities and the areas which you can take up. And believe me, if a person like me with no background in farming can take up, every one of you can. Because, not because you are or we are bright or something, it is because the demand for organic products is humongous. And I'll explain that in a minute. I'll give you an anecdote at this point of time. When I say the demand, I stepped into the computer industry in early 90s. There used to be a joke in those days that if you know how to boot a PC, you will get a job in computer industry in USA. And that joke has some merit. You see, the demand was so much. There were no colleges teaching computers in those days. So anyone who dipped it, I learned basic by paying 400 rupees to a computer trainer. And I was already a half expert in my bloody community. Right now, that is what the demand does to you. It gives you a relative positioning in a very, you can say, a very free and a blue ocean type of environment. What was true for computers in early 90s is true for organic and natural farming today. For next 2 decades, believe me, the world can go into recession for any industry, tourism, aviation, manufacturing, whatever you may say. But people need healthy food on their table 3 times a day. And if you get it right, you can have a very good business. So the whole idea is to step into this, by all means, step carefully, but find creative ideas and solutions, and money will follow. The second aspect of social entrepreneurship is that there is a lot of money to be tapped. The government has got huge amount of schemes. There is a huge amount of social impact funding which is available today. If you have the right problem and you have got the right prototype, the amount of money that is available nationally, internationally, United Nations, USAID, World Food Program, name a thing, you will get the money. What you need to focus on is creative ideas. And in coming decades, social entrepreneurship is set to rise exponentially. I think that is something all of you gut feel wise will be aware of. And last but not the least, we can make grand plans, we can have wonderful ideas, but any strategy, any business plan is only as good as its execution. So please remember, organic farming is all about execution, and more of that when I cover my own work. Now, let me cover a few points specific to organic farming as to why it is a new sunrise sector. Only 2% of India's irrigable land is covered by organic farming today. And this is straight from Ministry of Agriculture data. What does it tell you? 98% of land is waiting to be converted. The surging demand due to rising levels of healthy food. In the last 1 year, during the Corona times, Gratitude Farms, my company, has sold, we do a direct to home selling in Chennai, Pondicherry and Tirunelveli. We have done more than 22,000 deliveries through the thickest of the COVID-19 challenges. And the demand has only been rising. My demand far outstrips my capacity to supply. And that's true for everything in organic. Today and in years to come, the aspiration, the awareness levels of healthy food will keep ensuring that the demand far outstrips the supply. And so whoever steps in this industry is not going to face any kind of constraints of competition. In fact, this is one industry where collaboration is working far better than competition. And I'll cover some of those aspects a little later. There's space for many types of social entrepreneurs to step in. As I mentioned, this is best done with 3P approach: people, planet, and profit. Investments that you need in this are in the terms of commitment, effort, time, money, and in that order. So do not be worried about how much money do I need. What you should be asking is, do I have the right levels of commitment, passion to step into this field? This is hard work. This is not to be taken as a passive employment. No, it can't be. If only you are completely aligned to it and step into this, magic will happen. And this is another thing that I realized. It is not just about organic farming or agriculture. It has elements of technology, finance, marketing, sales, project management, everything. In fact, 3 years into the work, what we have realized is there is so much of reuse of all my technology, project management, leadership, marketing, sales skills that I picked up in my corporate and military career, which can be applied in agriculture. So all those of you who are experts in any or the many other fields that you are, and you are planning to step in, one of the concerns people is, how will I get into this new field? Well, it's not new. Focus and leverage your strength and add agriculture knowledge, and you are good to go. Now, what are the opportunities? Now, this simple schema will tell you the major areas. I may not be able to cover everything in great detail in the time that I have, but I'll be very happy to get in touch with you to explain more, those who are interested. Let's take up organic farming first. So organic farming, you can actually take up farms on lease. You can, if you have your land, you can start practicing it. And then the best model that is emerging is what is called the farm to fork. We call it harvest to home. We try to have the supply chain within 100 kilometers of our market, which is Chennai, Pondicherry. And we strive to supply the vegetables within 8 hours of harvest, so that they are.
Excuse me, sir. I think some people in the waiting room, they're pinging me. If you can let them in.
You would like to do that? Okay.
I don't have the host rights now.
Just one second. I'll do it.
Yeah, I think some people joined. Okay. Oh, yes. Lots of people. It seems lots of people were waiting in the waiting room.
Oh my God.
So you'll keep getting a notification. Just click on admit when somebody's
okay.
there.
I'll just keep it on the side of the screen.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Go on, please.
All right. So when we look at organic farming, you can take up farming. You can tie up with the aggregators. If you have land. In the last 1 year, a very large number of organic farming online stores, offline stores are propping up everywhere. Everywhere the demand is there. People are opening up shops, but there are very few good quality organic producers. You can be one of those. You can just focus on producing, or you can focus on producing and selling. If you have land within 100 kilometers of a city, it is the best idea that you focus on producing and also figure out your own direct sales mechanism. We started with just a WhatsApp group with my friends in Pondicherry. And you can say that in the first few weeks, we had maybe about 50 people on our WhatsApp group. And today I have 3,000 customers in about 12 WhatsApp groups and a web app. And the sales are rising very nicely. The second aspect of organic farming is, which I'll cover a little bit about, is aquaponics. It is a very futuristic agricultural innovation. And in a country where water is increasingly become scarce, the demand for organic food is high, the irrigable land is less. Aquaponics fills the gap very nicely. But there are risks and there are investments associated, which I'll explain in that section. Then an offshoot of organic farming knowledge. And mind you, when I say organic farming, it's all about gaining the knowledge. And I'll explain what we are trying to do, how we are trying to do. Once you become good at organic farming, you can branch out into urban organic farming. Urban organic farming is also an organic farming practice, except that the psyche of a farmer is very different from a psyche of an urban organic farming practitioner. So people want a rooftop garden, people want organic farming in the schools. There are these behavior changes that we need to be focused on. Urban communities, urban places, rooftops may not have enough sunlight, may not have very, regular supply of all the nutrients, etc., as a farmer will have access. So you take care of those things and you can actually set up a business in urban organic farming. We are just about starting with corporates, institutions, schools, training programs, and gated communities. The third one is value addition to organic produce. So when you produce vegetables, greens, fruits, etc., one more thing can be done is that you don't produce it, but you set up a processed food unit. We do a lot of solar drying. I'll explain about that. You can actually set up a cloud kitchen, a cloud organic kitchen, and start by providing food to people who are, and there are lots of people who may be interested in buying pure organic food. There are lots of startups in this part of the country where I'm working, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, youngsters, very highly qualified people. They are leaving their jobs and getting into cloud kitchen. There are some people who are focusing only on organic juices. There's a bunch of people who focuses only on organic salads, and they're creating businesses out of it. The choices are immense. Fourth one can be, you can actually take up online direct marketing, reseller or franchise of organic products. Again, tap into the demand. This can be done direct selling. I know of many communities. It is like it starts with a group of women in a particular community, and they take up the franchise or a reseller option for organic products, for vegetables, for variety of organic products, including the soaps and all the health products and the organic beauty products. The range of products is mind-boggling. There are a lot of suppliers. You can actually take it up, start out small within your community, within your area, and gradually grow. And last but not the least is a wonderful area called agri-tourism. Once I have created my organic farms, and I'll show you the design of my organic farms, we do it very aesthetically. We actually are planning to put up military tents in the corner of some of my farms. On a 2-acre farm, I set up 4 tents and invite people for a weekend training and a hands-on experience of farming. Many of my customers actually ask me, they have told me that the children don't know how a vegetable grows. Their children would like to actually touch and harvest a vegetable themselves. So we take this simple one-day workshops in which we invite people in the evening, take a session, and then they harvest the vegetable from the farm and then learn to cook. We have a cooking session. We have a very, very good organic nutrition expert. She trains people in what is called zero fire cooking, basically raw food. So how you can actually have very nutritious, delicious food which is not cooked. So it is done as a community, as a group exercise. The next morning, we give them a 4 hours training on how to grow plants and greens and fruit trees, etc. And then they go back after lunch. This thing is catching on quite a lot. A lot of people are fed up, locked into their houses in the last 1 year. They want to get out. There are very few places to get out. There is also a strong case in this oversaturated world with electronic gadgets, etc., for you to have a gadget-free holiday. Agritourism provides that. So these are the possibilities. There are many, many more. Like I said, identify a problem, find a creative solution, and that becomes an idea for business. But these are the ones which I am directly aware of, so I've shared it with you. So now let me go a little deeper and share my own company's story with you. And through that, I will try to cover some of the aspects which can become possibilities for entrepreneurship and business in organic farming. We are an agri-tech startup that combines the traditional knowledge of organic farming with latest technology and operational processes. So when we started, we had a vague idea. We wanted to help ex-soldiers. So we traveled around the country, went to regimental centers, met a lot of people, and gradually converged. And it was a kind of a gut feel that organic farming has got a lot of future. I had a little bit of land outside Pondicherry. We started learning organic farming. We started with Subhash Palekar's zero budget natural farming, and then added a lot of, you can say, practices which are very good. So we don't adhere to one or the other process. For us, the organic farming was the single biggest way or the best way to help small farmers become profitable. Ex-soldiers who take up, rural youth or women who take up organic farming to be profitable. Along the way, we realized the role of technology in increasing the productivity, and there is a silent crisis brewing in this country's agriculture, and that's called lack of discipline. In fact, when we were incubated by institutions like NIAM and WRI and some of my mentors, they were particularly, you can say, interested in the fact that we are trying to tap into the latent leadership potential of an ex-serviceman to bring him into agriculture. For me, it was a livelihood approach for them. But what they said is that these people have the potential to address the huge problem of lack of discipline among farmers. The current day farmers have forgotten two things, as the experienced mentors tell me, is one, the art of patience in agriculture, and the discipline, the dedication. So we are trying to bring that, just as you would run a typical operational system with SOPs and a tight monitoring and a reporting system with a SITREP. We do the same thing here. So what are we trying to do? Livelihood challenges of ex-servicemen is a primary problem. And secondary problem is low profitability of small and marginal farmers. I particularly focus on the word small and marginal farmers. All the policies in the country, all the funding, all the resources are cornered by the large farmers, who are only 17%. 83% of India's farmers have less than 1 hectare of irrigable land, which is 2.5 acres. And they are the ones who are most vulnerable. They are the silent majority among the farmers. So we focus on profitable organic farming models for such farmers. But above and away from all the business, social, environmental targets, we are very proud in stating that every acre of land that we can convert to organic is a service to Mother Earth. This is what we could call a superordinate goal of our work. It transcends all my business needs. And with this in place, everything else falls in its own place. So what do we do essentially? At one end, you have a small and marginal farmer. You train him in organic farming also. He can produce very good vegetables also, but he does not know how to sell. That's his biggest problem. And on the other end, you have a huge number of urban consumers like you and me. We all have a family doctor, a family lawyer, maybe a family wealth advisor. But do we know who is our family farmer? This is where we found our calling. We say Gratitude Farms is your family farmer. So we farm and then we harvest and we deliver. Now, just one second. I have to admit a few more people. Okay. So this is what is the model that we have. This has evolved. This is, by the way, all that I'm telling you is looking beautiful in a slide deck and a wonderful thing to hear probably. But we've gone through a lot to be able to come to this stage. But it has been very, very worthwhile. Our model is what you could call an ecosystem model. We grow organic, we process organic, and we sell organic. By necessity and by design, all our farms are within 100 kilometers of my market. And always remember, whenever you start a business, first look at the market potential. Identify the market, identify the possibilities of sales, identify what the products will sell, and then work backwards and design your business. For us, it happened kind of almost naturally. We started learning organic farming and the model has evolved. When I say we grow organic, we are a very asset-light model. While we started working with some ex-soldiers in and around Pondicherry and Chennai, but along the way, when our farm was designed, and I'll show you the design in a minute, a lot of people come to my farm and they said that, well, we have got a lot of unused land. It is ancestral property. Schools have surplus land. Hospitals have surplus land. Factories have surplus land. Corporates have that. So they give the land to us on lease. We take it up for 5 to 8 years lease. The first year pretty much goes into preparing the soil for high density organic farming, for which we have the food for it model design. All my farm managers are ex-servicemen and we have a lot of technology. Now, when the farms go operational, maybe after 6 months, 9 months or 1 year, the best quality vegetables are graded, packed and sold directly to my consumer. I have WhatsApp and web app and I'll share the link. The link of web app has been shared with our messaging. Otherwise also we'll put it on the in the chat window. Tushar, if you're there, you can put the web app link. If you are in Chennai or Pondicherry, you will be able to see the range of fresh products also. For rest of India, we have the solar dried products, etc. So our app is location sensitive. So the best vegetables are sold to our customers. We have 3,000 of them. Whatever we did, we realized that we can't sell everything. So we stumbled upon solar drying. It started as a zero wastage of surplus project, but today it is a full-blown business vertical, and I'll cover about it and the possibility that it has. India is a very sun-rich country, and solar drying is one of the underutilized potential business areas in organic farming. And third, we have a small organic cloud kitchen. I got a very brilliant chef. My co-founder's son is a trained chef. So we make salads, juices, pestos, and jams, and all organic. These jams are not your jelly type, but they are fresh fruit jams, very popular with my customers. And last is we sell. It's a very tight supply chain within 100 kilometers of market. We call it low food miles, direct to home model, and demand driven agriculture. You see, one of the biggest problems of farmer is he grows first and then figures out where to sell. And that is where perishable losses happen. But because I have 3,000 and rising customers, I actually can go ahead and plan what I'm going to grow for next 1 year. And if you bring in technologies like Farm ERP, which we are implementing, right now we are on Excel sheet, but we are moving towards Farm ERP. And we can actually plan 1 year ahead down to the last plant what we are going to grow, so that there is minimal wastage and everything is sold. Now, if you look at it, if you look at it, just one second. Okay. If you look at it, in this model itself, there are 3 distinct business opportunities. You can either lease land, learn organic farming, and practice organic farming and sell the produce in the market, either directly or through aggregators. That is one. The second is the processed food. You can open your own organic cloud kitchen or a solar drying unit. Solar drying actually has possibility of a lot of export. I'll cover that. And third is you can just become a reseller. You can buy vegetables from farmers and organic producers and set up your business.
So what is solar drying? You may like
I
to
will just,
explain. Yeah.
I will cover that in
Okay.
one of my sections. Yeah, just wait for a little while. Now, this is a very important statement that one of my mentors taught me. In social business, our network is our net worth. I never knew the nationwide networking and informal networking which is possible for social entrepreneurs. I'm part of a brilliant organization called Mission Samriddhi, which connects and catalyzes social entrepreneurs. They have got 2,000 social entrepreneurs amongst them. Believe me, in any part of the country, I need anything, I just send one message on this WhatsApp and within 2 hours, somebody answers it. And there are thousands of such groups. In fact, we are ourselves in the process of creating a gratitude community for organic farming. And the whole idea is people have different types of questions. And you just create a community and everyone participates in the measure of the knowledge and the interest and the capacity they have. We have been incubated by National Institute of Agriculture Marketing, incubated by World Resources Institute. Why I say this is, when you start the organic farming business, you're not alone. This is the need of the hour. There are many institutions, you just apply to them. They'll be happy to incubate you. The incubation possibilities on organic farming, natural farming are enormous. They will also fund you. We are in the process of signing an MOU with Manage, one of the premier institutions in agriculture management, marketing. And we are going to be providing certification trainings in organic farming, urban organic farming, aquaponics, etc. with Manage. They have their faculty, they have got a brilliant campus in Hyderabad, and we have the practical knowledge and practical training farms. We are in the process of becoming a member of a social entrepreneurship organization called SOBUS. It's an acronym for social business. And we will be doing a lot of projects in Maharashtra with them in the second half of this year. So now let me jump into organic farming, farm development service that we do. I talked about the food forest model. I talked about the high density organic farming. So this is a classic model that we have. You see, this is 1/4 of an acre. There are 4 such blocks in each acre. The outer layer is what are the fruit trees. So in this part of the country, papaya, lemon, moringa, chiku, guava, they grow. In between the trees, we grow a lot of these medicinal herbs, lemongrass, aloe vera, marigold, and a whole range of local herbs here. The gray one is where we grow trellis-based vegetables, your bottle gourd, coquinia, karela, kheera. These are all creepers. They yield 8 to 10 kg. So per plant, the yield is very high. This means the revenue is high. Yellow is the one where regular plants come in. Tomato, brinjal, okra, bhindi, beans, etc. And last is the greens. So in 1 acre, depending on what I choose among these, I grow 10 to 15 types of vegetables and greens. 80 to 100 fruit trees, in some cases much more. 10,000 plus vegetable plants in each acre in 2 to 3 seasons, and 12,000 greens. And once the plant's active life is over, we take up the plants, they generate about 10 tons of biomass in 1 year, in 1 acre, and convert them into compost and reuse it or sell it. That's an additional revenue. So this is in brief our food forest model. Now, one of the things that we do, I told you farmland development is a service. I'm just showing this as an example. This is the farmland of a customer of ours in Chennai. It's bang in the city center opposite Tambaram, in a very urban area. It's a 1 acre unused land. And we designed the food forest for him after taking the lay of the land and the contours. Now you can see that in this, I've got 300 fruit trees, 4,000 vegetable plants, 3,000 greens, flower garden, water bodies, bamboo hut, composting and nursery, all in 1 acre. So we designed the farm. We realized you should design the farm just as you would design your home. We sit so long with an architect to design every aspect of a home because we know what are the problems we want to solve, what are the desires we have. Well, similarly, a farm also has its own risks and requirements and objectives. Why not design it the same way? So this is something that we are trying to learn. And this is actually a premium work. A lot of people are willing to pay very good money to us. I have a very competent team of ex-servicemen, my agri diploma boys, and a back-end team on the soil health, on pest management, on nursery, on the choice of plants, etc. So with that, now I have got a competent team, and we are, you can say, the agricultural architects who design the farms. Design has another element, risk mitigation. What you're seeing in this slide is the biggest proof of 3 years of our work. When Cyclone Nivar hit us on 26 November, we are right in the path of the cyclone. 359 mm of rain in one night, 100 kmph wind speed. And what you're seeing in the pictures is the morning after the cyclone. Only 2% of our trees fell down, and most of our fruits and vegetables, they weathered the storm. You can see the third picture with 359 mm of rain. There was no stagnation of water. It is not because we are too bright or something. What I realized standing there was that for last 3 years, I've been nurturing the soil of my farms religiously with all the organic nutrients in a very sincere way, taking care of the root zone, taking care of the water, taking care of all things. A stage comes when Mother Earth smiles at you. The root zone became so strong, my trees are very strong. And as you have seen, the outer trees serve as a protection for the plants in the inward areas. So that is what has happened here. So this was a huge validation for our food forest model, and we feel very good about it. On the right, you are seeing one of my retired Subedar Majors. He is my delivery team head in Chennai. He delivered 100 deliveries of vegetable packets the next day in Chennai, when most of the city was completely waterlogged and some places had 2-3 feet of water. In terms of social impact and environmental impact, which is as important as your financial goals. As I mentioned, ex-soldiers as grassroots entrepreneurs is something not just good for their own livelihood, but they can be change leaders in due course in their villages. We generate 4.4 employments per acre. 3 of them are women, and we help urban communities adopt organic lifestyle. Environmental impact, we've already said about the number of trees and the compost that leads to carbon sequestration in the ground. In due course, we'll be looking at the carbon economy and the carbon positive work that we are doing. Zero wastage of vegetables, and we meet 8 out of 17 SDGs 17 goals. Now, somebody asked about solar dry. A lot of our vegetables, tomatoes, ginger, etc., we solar dry. I will show you a video, a 1-minute video, in which you will be able to see how this work of solar drying can help a disabled soldier gain dignified livelihood, and it is good money for all of us, for him as well as for us. And I'll explain that.
A very fit and a proud soldier who lost his leg in line of duty while in service. He did not lose his motivation, and when we met, we immediately realized that we can help him with solar dryers. This man has learned it very fast, and he's solar drying ginger for us in large quantities. Not
This
only
is a solar dryer,
generating livelihood, but also providing us with an excellent quality ginger powder, which we cannot ever overemphasize in these corona-driven times.
So you can see this man, and he's a role model for me. I gave him 4 solar dryers in the month of June. My model was very simple. I would give him 10 kg of tomato per solar dryer. At the end of the day, it will be 1 kg sun-dried tomato, but it sells for 1,200 bucks. And I used to pay him 250 rupees for every kg of tomato that he would do, or for that matter, anything. He earns about 20,000 in his village, in his own rooftop. And today I have got 4 times the initial capacity, and he actually employs women in his village. So from unemployed to self-employed to entrepreneurship in a few months. That's the possibility that solar drying has. Today, we are in the process of actually getting solar dryers capacity We are going to be having 200 solar dryers with about 4 tons of capacity in next 6 to 9 months. And we are aiming for exports. What you produce through solar drying, we do a lot of the solar drying of moringa powder. Moringa is a superfood. We are getting into solar drying of mushroom, of fruits as sun-dried fruit snacks, vegetables, things like tulsi, neem, everything. And there is a huge demand. It's all about marketing. We are tying up with distribution companies. We are also running campaigns. You can help us by actually taking our products. And if you are working in companies, you are running your own institutions, you can help us by making it your own institutional and corporate gifts. It's a very healthy and a very responsible gift. So this is the kind of approach that we are taking for solar drying. Now, all this is fine. I'm sure all of you want to know, okay, what is the money in this? So here is the money slide. I think the graph itself tells the story of what is possible. We started with a monthly sale of 5,14,000 in the month of January last year. The day the lockdown started on 25th March, my business tripled. Not because I was good, it was panic buying, as we realized much later. Because we were the only ones selling vegetables on WhatsApp and delivering in homes in those tough days. But we held on to our own, and gradually when the lockdown eased out, we are now increasing at a very rapid rate. I had a dip in revenue in the month of November, December, and also in January because of heavy rains in this part of the country, which actually reduced our production. But we are getting a lot of farmland development contracts. So what I did in vegetable selling, I'm also supplementing with farmland development. And now my solar drying business is also growing up healthily. So it's a growth from 5 lakh per month to almost 51 lakhs, hopefully, that we will cross in March in about 15 months' time. So that's a 10x growth. And the way I like to say, it is not because we are anything great. It is just that we are at the right place at the right time with right failures behind us and a right model for growth. This model has taken time for us to come through, but now it is fructifying. And we are in the stage today to seek bridge funding for expanding. We are going to be expanding to about 200 acres in next 1 year. We aim to go to about 1,500 acres in next 5 years. And we also aim to be one of the biggest solar drying producers of health foods, organic health foods in the country in next few years. To summarize the challenges in the model, lack of disciplined operations, it worked very well for us with ex-soldiers as farmers. Yield predictability is a huge issue across agriculture. We use a lot of technology and planning tools, starting from simple Excel sheets. Agri risks of pest attacks, cyclonic rains, etc. Food forest model with its multi-cropping has inherent protection. Design each farm in detail to address the needs, and you have already got some risk mitigation. Wastage of unsold vegetables, resort to solar drying and making juices, etc. Sorry. Supply chain and logistics is a big issue in organic farming. The perishability is high. So we limit our farms to 100 kilometers of a big city market. So with my current capacity, I can address only Chennai and Pondicherry. In a year's time, when I'm ready, when my processes are done, I'm opening an agri operations center, I can manage things, I'll go to Bangalore, and next year I'll go to Hyderabad. There is this debate of replicability versus scalability. We choose replicability. So if you give me 50 acres, I will actually have 25 units of 2-acre models. And we use a lot of technology, Agri Operations Center, Farm ERP, to manage remotely the works of the farm. With this, I come next, a quick brief about aquaponics. This is generating a lot of interest. We have got one of the few, you can say, commercially successful aquaponics farms. These 8 pictures tell the story of my aquaponics farm in Pondicherry. I've written very lovingly, this hut was my command center when there was nothing. This is where we started it all. You can see that nutrient flow technique system is being installed. This is a 6,000 square feet model. And then this was my first crop. And what you're seeing in the 4th picture here was the first harvest way back in September 2018. This is basil. Now we have diversified to many more things. This 6,000 square feet yields almost 9 tons of greens. And because it is a controlled agriculture, what is aquaponics? Aquaponics is a combination of hydroponics in which you grow plants, vegetables in greens, in water, but the inputs are chemical. Instead of that chemical input, if you have an aquaculture, which is high density fish farming, what is technically called recirculatory aquaculture system, where the waste of the fish is fed to the plants as their nutrient, and plants purify the water and give it back to them. So it's a very symbiotic relationship between the fish and the plant. What you are seeing in this picture here, where my mouse is the high density fish tank for my model 1B for a 2000 square feet farm. What is not visible in this is that there are almost 1,200 tilapia fish, each weighing about 400 grams in this. We just feed the fish. That is the only input to the system. The waste of the fish is carried by these green pipes that you're seeing, along with a timer controlled circuit, to these beds, as you are seeing here. And look at this picture, the picture on the left bottom of the density of the produce. Only fish waste is helping these plants grow. There's a smaller model, what we call the low-cost aquaponics model, in which in 400 square feet, we can grow 0.8 tons of vegetable, which can feed 3 rural families. 2,000 square feet yields 4 tons and 6,000, 9 tons. It's a very high yield system. It's a very promising agriculture innovation, but you should be aware of what is the risk behind it. The investment in this is pretty high. Just one second. Investment is pretty high. You need to invest probably 50 lakhs to 1 crore per acre. So we could not invest that much. So we have done everything within, you can say, less than 1/3 of an acre. The risks are high because it is a very intricate system. It takes a long time for the fish and the plants to get into harmony. There's a very, very scientific way. There are guides. If those of you who are interested, we can share. There is a Food and Agriculture Organization's manual. But a far better thing would be you come and attend our trainings when we start it in about next 60 days time. I'll come to that in a little while. And once you get the system right, the returns are very high. It pays for itself in less than 2 years. So this is in very brief aquaponics for you. Aquaculture plus hydroponics. Now I come a little bit about urban organic farming. So what practices of organic farming I told you are very much applicable there. It's the same, taking care of the plants, the pests, the root zone, etc. Except that you have to take care of the fact that people have very limited space, limited sunlight, limited time. So we design system. What you're seeing in the screen is a portable farming system in which we've got a very highly nutritious growing medium, and we provide the seeds, we provide the trainings. And look at the density of the pumpkins and the vegetables that can grow on your roof. With 4 such PFS, a family of 2 or 3 need not buy anything from the market for their vegetable needs. We also focus on corporates, institutions and schools, gated communities and community projects. Let me give you a few examples. Here are the salient features of rooftop farming. It's an HDPE container. It has an automatic drip system, 75% water saving, subsurface drainage so that there is no stagnation or leakage of water on the roof, abundant vegetable production. We have an organic spray kit and a routine which we train the consumers, and soilless medium, which is very light. Here is another innovation which my team is right now working on. We grow these fruit trees in these grow bags. These grow bags are 2 feet by 2 feet, 2 feet dia and 2 feet height. And we get the trees from Rajamundry, the dwarf varieties. The pictures you are seeing of banana and papaya are from my actually farm fruit tree bags. These are the kind of trees that we can grow. And we sell these 2 to 3 months or 4 months old saplings, which can fruit from anything from 9 months for papaya, banana, and moringa to about 1 or 2 years. We are planning a 10,000 fruit tree campaign in Chennai in next 1 year. Once you figure out how to grow fruit trees, you can actually take up a community project. There's a huge demand for this. And this is a very high revenue earning as well as a socially relevant business. There are a lot of people, a lot of clubs who do it on a smaller basis. We intend doing this in Chennai in a big way in this particular year. School farming program. We are already working in 2 schools in Chennai, and many more we will follow through, where you put up these urban organic farming systems and integrate it with Eco Club trainings for the school. Every school is looking for this kind of value addition. So if you can learn about this, there is a huge amount of business that is available. Be sure that you learn well, and because the kids are one of the most inquisitive, and luckily for us, we have got a team of trainers which we have actually pulled together from different cities, and we are doing this project. Now, a word about solar drying. What you're seeing on this is a solar dryer. It's a 20 kg solar dryer designed by IIT Madras for a company by the name Aspiration Energy for us. How this works? So the wind is blown into this panel. It is sucked. There are 4 exhaust fans at this point run by solar energy. And you put your vegetables in trays here, 20 kgs of them. The ambient temperature inside, because of the sunlight, is 55 to 65 degrees. And by the end of the day, 10 kgs of tomato or fruit or greens will turn into 1 kg, but retaining the color, taste, flavor, and nutrition. It is a very good way to reduce the wastage of unsold vegetables, greens, and fruits. And also you can do it as an independent business. It's a very good social impact, livelihood business opportunity, and investment pays for itself in less than a year. If you have the capacity, which you should build when you take up social entrepreneurship, there's a huge amount of government as well as CSR funding available for solar drying business. So you really don't have to worry about the capital for solar dryers. You can get it through multiple sources. You focus on quality and marketing, and you'll have a business up and going. How it works? The input is all the raw materials, your vegetables, fruits, etc. You solar dry. The packaging and labeling is what we do. After the end of the day, the same thing, what is done in 1 or 2 days, because the perishability is gone, its life is 6 months, we can sell it. The real challenge in solar drying is marketing and sale of products. Those of you who are interested to become our partners, you want to take this up, we'll be very happy in any part of the country. Every part of the country has some unique crops and products. We are happy to discuss with you, and we will be able to market the products. So this is something that I'm doing pan-India with a lot of ex-soldiers and women self-help groups. Now, word about how the value addition can be done. So I talked about you, I showed you the video of ginger. That ginger came from Meghalaya, and then we clubbed it with turmeric from Maharashtra and honey, wild forest honey from Maharashtra, Yavatmal district, and created an immunity booster gift of good health. And we ran a campaign. We are still running a campaign with institutions, corporates, and schools to make it their institutional gift, and also for a kind of a B2C, that is for people to consider this as a healthy gift option, gift good health to near and dear ones. So this is just one of the things. We are not experts at marketing. We had the product, scratched our heads what to do, came up with this, are doing a decent business in this. It could be much better, but we are doing quite well. This is a good reseller opportunity for Gratitude Farms, or you can come up with your own ideas. When we talk of reselling and franchise, you can take up a direct selling model in your city and community, as I mentioned. You can take up institutional and corporate sales, develop or sell through online sales platform. You need very low investments to start with direct selling model. And when you get good, India has got no dearth of brilliant products for which the exports is a very, very good idea. There are 2 crore Indian people living in different parts of the world. They themselves are the biggest consumers of Indian products. And smart businessmen, Gujaratis, Malayalis, and many others have already figured this out, and they are doing a lot of experts. If they can, so can you. Last slide. We are coming up with a series of certification trainings for those who are serious about taking this plunge. It will be done in partnership with Manage, a very premier institute. Tentatively from April, look out for our website, fill the form that we will just share with you so that we know about you and you can be in touch with us. Venues are going to be Hyderabad and Pondicherry. I'm setting up a training center in Hyderabad, outside Hyderabad rather, and later in Jaipur. Duration will be from 3 to 15 days. It's going to be very largely practical. So you will be having hands-on training and you'll be working with your own hands, while theory, etc., will also be there. The topics will be organic farming practice, focusing on food forest model that I showed you, integrated aquaponic systems, solar drying, food processing, marketing and franchising in organic products. Manage is particularly good at teaching you the skills how to do marketing in variety of agri products and urban organic farming. So that's it from my side. I have taken a long time, but thank you for your patience. And now over to you back, Iqbal.
Thank you, sir. This is really enlightening. I learned a lot of new things. Can you please make me the host again?
Yes.
All right, so everybody get ready for the quiz. So I hope you've been paying attention. And if you have been paying attention, you stand the chance to win a few gifts. So the gifts are some discount coupons from Gratitude Farms for their products, right? All right. Okay, I'm the host now. So those of you who haven't come to menti.com, please go there, right? Go there, put the link, enter the code, and just wait. I will activate the quiz. So there'll be 5 questions. You need to answer them right and answer them fast. So those who have the right answer and those who answer fast will be the winners, right? All right. I'm just giving a little bit of time so that people can go to the URL and enter the code. Meanwhile, I will share my screen. Okay. So please make sure you enter your full and correct name, because that's how we will identify the winner. It will not take your email ID because it doesn't take special characters. Are you able to see this in your laptops, the quiz? I hope so. Okay, Uday, are you able to see this in your quiz? I think I need to move to the next one, right? So there will be a question. It'll be a multiple choice question. You have to select one choice amongst A, B, C, D. Whoever answers correct and whoever answers first will be amongst the leaders. And this gets summed up over all the 5 questions. At the end of 5 questions, we will have the winner, the top 5 winners. Okay, some people still entering the room. All right, so okay, are you able to see this in your screens, the quiz? Can somebody let us know? Uday, can you see this? Okay, people can see. I have confirmation. All right, then let me go ahead. Okay, question number 1 coming up. Where is Gratitude Farms registered office? It's a lollipop question. Come on, guys. These are the 4 choices. The timer is running. Enter your answer quickly. Yes, you have only 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And time's up. Let's see how many guys got it right. Wow, 70 people got it right. It's Pondicherry. Excellent. So let's see who's leading. Naveen Gopal is the leader with 986 points. And I see Sam and Yutika, Ashish Sharma. Excellent, Ashish. Vishal Bhargav, Harinder Sood. So Harinder, I think you're joining from New York. Great. Uday, excellent. So great, guys. Don't lose hope. We have 4 more questions, right? Are you enjoying this? Okay, coming up, question number 2. Right. Keep your fingers on the keyboard. What is the URL of Gratitude Farms store? Store. Remember the keyword. Yeah, so we have some options here, right? You have 18 more seconds to answer. Answer right. Answer quick. 9. 5 seconds more. 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Let's see who's got it right and how many people got it right. Wow, only 39 people got it right. And 6 people got it wrong with the wrong URL, completely wrong. And so this seemed like a tough question. Okay, let's see the leaderboard. Who's leading now? Nand Kumar, it seems. Nand is leading. Sam is second. Yutika is third. Okay, so there's a change. So Yutika is first. Nand Kumar is second. And Brigadier Binuraj. Wow, good Brigadier. And Sam's fourth. Ashutosh Kulkarni. Excellent, guys. So you see, the leaderboard can change. It doesn't matter. So even people who are not figuring in the top 10 can come up. So don't give up. Get ready for the next question. Question 3 out of the 5 that we're going to ask. What is the percentage of India's irrigable land covered by organic farming? Percentage. Very simple. I think this was right out of the first of couple of slides that we had. If you get this wrong, I think you should be kicking yourself. Okay, last few seconds. The time's up. Wow, 64% of the people who are paying attention, it seems. They got it right. So that's 2% of India's irrigable land. So what does it tell you? What's the opportunity? It's huge. 98% is untapped. So that's the potential. Okay, we still have some people joining. All right, so question. Right, we see the leaderboard. Excellent. So Nand Kumar is right at the top. Binuraj is next. Okay, Sam has overtaken Binuraj and Ashutosh, Satya, Pradeep Bral, and SS Balaji. Supriya, excellent Supriya, and Rami Reddy. Right. So don't lose hope. Those whose names do not figure here, you still stand a chance. Next question coming up. Question number 4. To which locations does Gratitude Farms deliver their produce? So you have the options here, and this was mentioned in the talk. Last few seconds. Let's see who got it right. 47 people got it right. So the correct answer is Pondicherry, Chennai, and Tiruvannamalai. And this seemed to be another tough question for many people, right? I told you, pay attention. Let's see the leaderboard. Oh, Nand Kumar seems to be having fastest finger. And so is Binuraj. Excellent. Excellent, guys. Ah, so Bino. Okay, Bino is being stuck. What is this? Okay, so. All right. Okay. So Bino is leading. Nand is second. Balaji third. So are you guys enjoying this? I hope you're enjoying this quiz. Let's go to the next one. So last question. Okay, get it right if you want to win the prizes. Last question. What are the 3 best ways to do the business with the 3P approach? This is also mentioned in the talk. Last few seconds. Hurry up. And the time's up. Let's see the correct answer. Wow, 59 people got it right. Excellent. Excellent, guys. Okay, so let's see who's on the leaderboard. Wow. Brigadier Binuraj is leading. Nand Kumar. Oh, Nand Kumar is the winner. Okay, so that's the summation of all the 5 questions. So A Nand Kumar is the winner. Excellent. So Uday, you can put in your email ID. So Nandkumar, Binuraj, Pradeep Bral, and SS Balaji, and Anupam Patel. So these are the 5 winners. We'll email the discount coupons to you. So the discount coupons are valid till 14th of February. Please make sure you use them, right? So Uday, I hope you have made a note of the winners. Okay, so I think with that we come to the end of the quiz, and we will now take a look at the questions. So meanwhile, maybe are there any questions which are ready? Uday, have you been able to send it to me? Let me just see. So Uday, could you please send the questions? I don't seem to have them. All right, so let me pick them up from. So type into your chat window, chat the questions. Okay, there was a question on aquaponics and hydroponics. Are they the same? So you already answered it, sir. Do you want to answer any more?
Yeah, hydroponics is all about growing vegetables in water. Hydroponics, the inputs are all chemicals. So it is not organic farming. When you replace the inputs of chemicals by a fish waste as the input to hydroponics, that becomes aquaponics. So aquaponics is aquaculture plus hydroponics. And when we say integrated aquaponics system, there are a lot of elements and science of organic farming that is applied.
Okay. Then I think there's a question on the kind of areas like Madhya Pradesh. What kind of irrigation or farming is possible? They're dry or with water?
Yes. So for different types of climate, so India has multiple agroclimatic zones. For each type, you see, you must understand one thing. Today, you may be facing this water problem and all the soil, fertilizer, chemicals and all that. 70 years back, this country was organic. Even in the most water-starved places, they had a way to figure out how to grow the farming for the local natural conditions. We need to revive that. There are natural practices which are available. Water problem today is not as much a problem of water availability, but of water usage. One of the biggest problems of Indian farming is flood irrigation. So if a farmer has one borewell, he just floods his fields and 90% of the water evaporates. That's where the water is getting wasted. If we bring in sensible water practices, which is what we try to do, something as simple as measuring the water in each plot and then applying technologies like IoT-based sensors. There are lovely applications that are available, which we are trying to train the farmers to. The water consumption can go down by half and it can improve the sustainability of agriculture. So yes, there are a lot of such issues, but there are answers to each such issue also. So those with specific questions about Madhya Pradesh or any region, number one, you have Krishi Vikasa Kendras in every district. They have a lot of knowledge base. But if you want to know more, usually your state agriculture university on the website will tell you about the crops and the practices. And in this case, since you are now getting connected with us, feel free to join hands with us. In due course, we will be able to address a lot of issues which you may need to start your own business. As we mentioned, we are trying to set up a community, a gratitude community of people who are willing to adopt organic lifestyle. There is already a link for the web form. Tushar, you need to see to it that the permissions are all granted to everyone, and reach out to us. And right now, we can answer possibly all questions for South India. For other parts of the country, it will be our endeavor to answer it in due course as we go along.
Okay, I think I got a couple of questions on the slide now. Maybe I can share it. All right, so somebody is saying, can one come to Pondicherry and to Gratitude Farms for training?
So as I mentioned in my training slide, you're most welcome to visit the farm anytime, but the trainings are starting sometime in April. We are right now in the process of finalizing the content and the curriculum. And thereafter, the trainings will happen around the year. There'll be a training calendar on our website. You can register and you can pick and choose the different types of training that we have. We'll have trainings on aquaponics, on organic farming, on organic nutrients, urban organic farming, etc.
Okay. Then somebody is asking, how is the land prepared for organic farming? The time mentioned was 1 year. So he wants to know what exactly
Okay,
happens there.
so depending on the soil condition, the water, the climate, and whether it was already being used for chemical farming or not, it will decide whether it takes 4 months, 6 months, or 1 year. There is a very standard ancient practice. So basically, in very brief, we first plow the land, soften the topsoil, we carpet bomb farmyard manure or river compost on the land, and then we rotate and put it in the topsoil. Then we put decomposers to, the compost by itself will not be able to generate the microbes. We put decomposers to accelerate the process. There is a process called Navadhanya. You can Google and see. It is a very good practice for improving the soil nitrogen. We do it about 2 months into the cycle, and then repeat the process 1 or 2 or 3 times more till the soil carbon and soil nitrogen levels are of the required level. The soil microbial content is of the right level when we can start using it. So that, as I said, depending on the condition of the soil, it may take anything from 4 months to 1 year.
All right. So I think the third question is a repeat of the first one, how to approach Gratitude Farm for seeking training. So maybe you want to put some link here, email or something, Tushar or somebody
Tushar,
else.
can you please put the web form again in the chat window?
Okay. And somebody saying he would like to start this in his native village in Tehri Garhwal in Uttarakhand, and it's
Wonderful.
near to Haridwar in Uttarakhand.
Wonderful.
So
That's
how does he go about it? Maybe.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So in Tehri Garhwal, you already have got a very, very well-established practice in the Pantnagar University. Just go to them and they will give you fantastic things. There are a lot of work that is already happening.
Okay. And then somebody's asked if you can sell this produce directly themselves.
Absolutely. That's the best way to get a very good price.
Okay. And somebody's asking, what is the cost of one solar drying machine?
So 20 kg solar dry that I showed you in the picture, it is a very robust thing, a life of 7 to 10 years. It costs us 50,000 rupees ex factory, about 52,000 with GST and everything, and transportation, installation extra. And it can generate about 20 kg of solar dried products in 1 month. It's about 240 kgs.
Okay. And from where can they procure it? And
you can procure it from us. Okay, there are lots of solar dry. One point of caution to all of you: there are lots and lots of solar dryers. When you do Google search, you will find all kinds of solar dryers. There are low-cost solar dryers. It may be a good idea for you to start with a low-cost one if you want to do it just for domestic purpose or a trial basis. But be aware that the life will be less than 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 storms, 1 or 2 rains, and they will give way.
What is the cost of these low-cost ones approximately?
About the same 20 kg one could cost you about 20,000 rupees.
Okay.
So what we pay 50,000, but that is a very strong steel body with very good quality fiberglass and solar fans, etc. Its life is 7 to 10 years. You see, these are passive devices. What we have to do is once you put it, and we put it in remote areas, we are actually going to do a lot of projects in Rajouri and Poonch district in a few months from now. The quality of the product has to be such that it doesn't have to be touched for next many years. So that's why it pays a lot to go in for a solid product in the beginning.
Okay. How do you manage pest control?
Very nice. Pest management is one of the most serious problems. First and foremost, there are organic pest repellents. The most common ones, which can be actually developed on the farm, is what is called 3G. It is a paste of garlic, ginger, and chili. Traditional stuff. Just as it will hurt your skin, it hurts the pest skin. You can spray it. Neem oil, neem paste is a very good preventive method. There is a very good thing called Dashamritam. So those of you who are willing to associate with us, you can actually do a lot of Google search also. But about the practice, we'll be able to help you. Dashamritam, neem paste, neem oil, 3G, and then there are other bionutrients which strengthen the root zone. So a healthy plant usually doesn't fall sick. So it's a two-way approach. It's not just pest management after the pest attack has happened. It is also pest prevention. So focus on both and you'll get good yield.
All right. Some people are joining the meeting now. Somebody was stuck in the traffic jam, it seems, because of
Wow.
the farmer agitation. All right. So welcome, Anurag. So how do you go about farm leasing?
Yeah. So how do we go about farm leasing? There are two ways. In fact, when people see my farms, a lot of my friends who have got unused land around my farm, they've just leased it to me. That farm was lying unused. They don't have any monetary considerations with that. So they have leased it to me. I pay them about 25,000 to 30,000, which is the going rate per year for an acre of leased land. And I do everything. I do all the investment and I sell the vegetables. The second form of leasing is what is the farmland development service, which I explained in my presentation, in which we sign a 5 to 8 year contract. Minimum size of the land, depending on the distance from the market, ranges from 1 to 10 acres. And the investment for developing the land in the first year is brought in by the farmland owner. And in return of that, from second year onwards, we actually do it from the first year. And from second year onwards, we run the operations from the sale of the vegetables and give a return to the farmland owner at the rate of 12% per year. And at the end of the contract, we return the principal. So that's the leasing model.
Okay. Can you help in Uttarakhand with setting this up? What support can you provide?
Wow. Right now, unfortunately, I'm not staffed, but right now I have Mr. Raj Jani, my partner. He's based out of Jaipur. In next few months, maybe in about 6 months time, we'll definitely be able to help you with this. But in the meantime, by April, when we are ready, do come and attend our trainings in Hyderabad or Pondicherry. You'll get a good idea.
What is the duration of these trainings?
Ranging from 3 to 15 days. Organic farming practices 15 days. And shorter trainings, urban organic farming can be only 3 days or 4 days. Organic nutrients, compost making, nursery, etc. 3 days. Aquaponics introduction is just 3 days. Aquaponics detailed training is likely to be 10 days, like that. You'll see all the details on our website in a few weeks' time.
Okay, somebody's asking if this will work on a 10-acre farm in UP with very fertile soil, you know,
Of
maybe.
course it will.
Yeah.
Of course it will. The only thing is our distance from Delhi is 300 kilometers. It will absolutely work. One thing that you need to do is to figure out the market first before you take this up. Tie up with some buyer, some bulk buyer or some community which has committed to you. Yes, they will take their produce and only then jump into it. Do not make the mistake of first investing everything and then trying to figure out where to sell.
Okay. Are all farms certified organic? How long does it take to get certified and what is the cost?
Certification in India is a very complex thing. It takes 3 years for the regular certification. There are many such certifications which are available, NPOP, PGS, IMO, etc. It takes time, but more important than certification is the trust with your customers. Government has allowed startups to continue to sell organic vegetables without certification in the first 3 years. There is a policy to that effect. Now, that doesn't take away the necessity of certification. Let me correct that. All of us need certification. It's a mandatory compliance requirement if you want to use the word organic. What we do instead is that we say organically grown or natural. Now, it's not a play of words that is important. What is important is to gain trust. When your consumers will consume and they know for sure that the vegetable quality is good day after day, how do I prove my trust? I always invite my customers to my farms. There's another thing that we are trying to do to build the trust, that's called traceability. In a few months' time, every packet of vegetables of mine will have a QR code. The moment you scan it, you will get to know which farm, the name, mobile number of the farm manager, his name, and the Google location. That may not prove whether the vegetable is organic or not, but what it does to the people is that statement that I made, that he knows who the family farmer is. And when they go there, they can see for themselves. That trust that happens is far better than the organic certification.
Okay, and somebody saying he's looking for support in Jammu. Is it possible to carry survey for the fertile land I have during a visit to Poonch, J&K?
Yes, we can. Please contact us when we are there in 2 months time from now. We will. So you can take down our contact. and you can just write a mail to us. We will be in touch.
Okay. And somebody's asking if he can be a franchise partner. I think just a minute.
Most welcome.
Yeah, can I connect as franchise partner for Pune and Mumbai market? My land is
Most
close to
welcome.
Pune.
We are looking for franchise partners for our solar dried range of products, for our jams and juices, etc. You're most welcome. Please contact us.
Okay.
Tushar, have you placed the form for people? Or we can give the contact number and the email. Can you please do that? Let me just try to place the link of the form in the chat window for those who have not been able to get it. You can fill this form. And with this, we will know. Just let me know if it is asking for rights.
I think he is provided now.
Okay. If you can open the form, take just 2 minutes to fill it. Give your details. My team will get in touch with you. Whatever are the questions that you have put in the chat window, just put it in the form. In the next few days, my team will get in touch with you.
Okay, I think some more questions. Let me just say, somebody's asking, is there any government subsidies for organic farming?
Yes. So there is a Paramparik Krishi Vikasa Yojana, but it's not too much. Where you can get subsidies is, suppose you put up, like I put up the drip irrigation, I put up the solar pumps for my borewell, I put up the trellis for my organic things. There are local and central subsidies which are available. Get in touch with your local agriculture officer. There are a lot of subsidies that the government has provided and you must avail for it.
Okay, somebody's saying, what is the minimum land size? Is in Mohali and land prices are high. Is 4 acres a viable option?
It is very much a viable option.
Okay,
4 acres in second year onwards, you can grow at 12 tons, about 48 tons of vegetable in 1 year. That's about 4 tons a month.
Okay, this Jammu question I had already taken to fill the gap. Then Gaurav was asking, what about setting up dairy since cow dung and other products are used in organic soil? Is it
Very good
necessary to
question.
set up the dairy first?
Well, it's a question of choices. In our case, we focus so much on organic farming. Dairy requires extra land, extra manpower, extra effort. We didn't have the money or the time. So we tied up with a very good natural, what is it called? The country cow dairy products. So all my cow dung, etc., cow urine comes from there. So, but what you are asking is the right question. The correct way is what is called the integrated farming, where you have a dairy farm integrated to the organic farm. So if you can do that, that's ideal. But
Okay.
it's not necessary to set up dairy first, I would say, because you can't do too many things together. So if you're focusing on organic farming, tie up with somebody who's already doing dairy. You basically, as a thumb rule, you need 2 cows to cater for 5 acres of organic farming.
Okay, that's a good metric. Then again, the same question, is there an ideal minimum size of land to start with?
Depending on what you produce. So yes, on 2 acres also. So like I told you, from second year onwards, you can take a thumb rule that if your practice has been very meticulous, you should be able to grow 1 ton of vegetable every month. Now you can decide 1 ton of vegetable. If you can directly sell, it sells usually at 80 to 85 rupees a kg to the markets. That gives you a decent profit. And if you have 2 or 4 acres of land, you can multiply. Then if you put up a few solar dryers, if you put up a juice unit, if you put up a pickling unit, you can put value addition, etc. So organic farming is a good start. As you grow over the years, you can add value additions and you can also tie up with better market. The closer you reach the end consumer directly, the better is the revenue that you will get.
Okay, then somebody's asking, is it possible to do organic farming on a hill slope?
Absolutely. Hills are actually the most fertile lands. Usually no chemicals are used. So you can start with natural farming and organic nutrients. You will get very good results.
Okay, then somebody's asking.
Hills are also, just a point here. Hills are also very good for mushrooms and exotic vegetables. So spend some time in understanding about what kind of exotic vegetables can be grown. In the south, we have in Ooty, Kodaikanal, Polachi, We have got farmers, organic farmers who are growing lettuce, who are growing button mushrooms, who are growing broccoli, strawberry, capsicum, colored capsicum, and they sell at a very good price. I buy it from them and the quality is superb. The demand for these exotics is enormous. So hills are actually very good. But like everything else, first tie up with the buyer and then start.
Okay, I think there's a question. What would be the cost of inputs per acre of organic farming?
Yep. So labor cost, I told you, is, I mean, depending on whether you have your own labor or you have to hire. In case I have to go for everything, the farm manager, a diploma guy who can do the knowledgeable practice, and the women labor, it costs me all inclusive about 4 lakhs in the first year to prepare the land. This cost drops from the second year to about 3 lakhs because the farm inputs are lower. Okay. And on top of that, there is a one-time cost depending on how much water, fertigation, nursery, etc. that you have to do. So be prepared in this high density farming to spend anything between 5 to 5.5 lakh rupees in case you have to hire all labor. If you have your own labor, that cost gets cut. And the first year is that kind of investment. Second year onwards, you can get a profit of anything ranging from 1.5 lakh per acre profit. I'm talking 1.5 lakh per acre to third year, fourth year, it'll go to 2.5, 3 lakhs.
Okay. I think this capex and opex you already answered. Anything else you wish to add?
No, I've just mentioned that only.
All right. So somebody has land close to Pondicherry, 10 acres, Ashwath Reddy. So
Yeah,
can I
get
start?
in touch with us.
Yeah, get in touch with them. Okay. Avnish is asking what would be the cost of inputs. I think you already answered this. Then Jyoti is asking, do carrots grow in Pondicherry?
No, they don't. Carrots need more temperate climate. So we go get it from the hills, Ooty, Kodaikanal, etc.
Okay. I don't see any more questions. So I think we could probably come to the end. Any more last questions? I don't see any more last questions. So finally, I think I must thank you from the bottom of my heart, sir, because honestly, though I also come from a farming family, but I know nothing about farming, and I realized organic farming absolutely nothing at all, right? So I learned a lot, and it was really insightful, and I am sure a lot of other people found it beneficial. So guys, this is a good option. I feel that a lot of soldiers have land back home, and this can be a good option for them sitting at home. And this is the need of the hour. In my opinion, nothing has happened in agriculture in India for the last, I think, 40, 50 years after the Green Revolution. It's ripe. The manifestations are there, as you see. And agriculture requires a lot of technology. We have all kinds of things today. Singapore is like already allowed, artificially grown meat to be sold, right? So there's a lot of scope here. Get into this, and this is the right time to get into this. With that, we come to the end. We will share the recording with all those who had registered. Any last words from you, sir?
I've posted the link to the form once again. Please click on it. It's a Google form. Fill it up, and we will get in touch with you with your specific queries. We can take it forward from there. While our entire focus right now is South India, but in coming months, we are going to be expanding our reach across India. But knowledge is something that we can share anytime through trainings and through online interaction.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And thanks everybody for joining. We will share the recording with all those who had registered. Good night. Thank you very much.